Oh yeah.
Hello.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I like the clock.
Why, thank you. It does not belong to me.
There's a shop in Brunsfield that's completely full of these kind of old grandfather clocks. But it's a bit more too rich for my blood.
This week, Kim.
Please, will you both doing? Katie, are you home now?
Well, no, I mean, what do you mean home? I am at my parents'.
Oh, I mean your actual house where you live.
No, I do not have a magnificent grandfather clock in my actual house where I live, unlike your lucky self.
Yeah. Are you just sticking it out there?
Yeah, I'm staying here until I'm allowed to see other humans.
Fair enough.
Hello, beautiful.
Hey, how are you all? Right?
Oh yeah.
Hey, that's a big piano you got there, Katie.
It's not mine. It's my dad's.
Very impressive.
It's very impressive.
Yeah. How are you all? How's your day been?
All right. Been doing some more getting outside.
Oh, yay.
That's the theme of this year so far.
Fabulous. Sounds like you got an airplane.
It's also the theme of last year, let's be honest, like just going for walks. Going for walks is my life now.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, so where did you go to today?
Just up to Mugduck Park. Alan went for a run or a slide. Like it was so icy. It was so icy. I don't know how he ran anywhere, but Alan went for a run and I went for a walk. But I just gave up on the path after like maybe 200 meters.
Wow. Okay.
Like just gonna go, not slide around. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey. Bean, I think you might have a kind of a high-pitched whistling or like. Oh, it's gone now. Stopped.
I think it's the washing machine, but it's just finishing the spin. So
Oh, I see.
maybe that'll be it. I'll mute for a minute.
No, it's fine. No, it's all good. Just, now I know what it is. That's all good. How are you, Michael?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. That's like had a very boozy New Year's with me and Maria. A little bit of news. Engaged now to Maria.
Congratulations.
Massive congratulations.
That's huge. That's brilliant. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So it's quite nice. After Christmas, and then should be nice.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So talk us through it. What happened?
The story. So it was very clear. I secretly went and got the ring on Christmas Eve, and then I went to, and then I kept it in my pocket. And then I was going to ask her on Christmas morning, but instead it was so comfortable we put on this fire here.
Uh-huh.
It's just a gas one, but it just felt so nice and comfy that I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. Yeah.
Now Frankie sounds like a washing machine.
Yeah. Oh, it's just lovely. And most of my family members have said, "Finally," or words to that effect. Like,
about bloody time.
Basically.
Oh, that's sweet.
But yeah, it's quite nice. And then
I think we've been together a while before. Like we've got friends who got married, I think between, like we had quite a long engagement, but yeah, definitely had friends who married like before we even got engaged, like who'd been together like well shorter than us. Like we'll have been together 10 years next Christmas. But yeah, only married like 2.
Yeah.
It still counts though, right? The time before you was here, that counts for the length of the marriage, definitely.
Yeah.
Kind of rolls on. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean, you just have multiple like anniversaries, right? Like you can insist on presents multiple times a year.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Oh.
Yeah. And then she got to have, like, I mean, it's the only time of year we could have a reasonable amount of people together as well at Christmas. So we had that with my parents and my brother and sister. So it was nice. Yeah.
Nice.
It's good news for.
Yeah.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Andrada.
Hello.
Hi, Ivan. How's
Well,
everyone doing today?
Good, thank you very much. I went for a walk with my bubble partner today. Yay.
Lovely.
Are there hugs?
Not yet. No, we're playing by the rules. So we're given a full 2 weeks since Christmas. But then, so she's going to come around to my house on Saturday. Yay! Next weekend. But that means I've got to tidy now. Imagine being a boy and living alone for 7 months. Imagine what kind of state my house is in. And I've got to tidy that ready by next weekend. That's my problem. So as long as you can see this, it'll be fine.
Looks clean to me.
Yeah, this bit's perfect. Yeah.
I'm imagining just everything like just outside the kind of camera shot is
It's
just
chaos.
these huge piles, like at the start of Wall-E is basically what I'm imagining your flat is like.
I need Mary Poppins to come and visit. Just do that a few times.
Oh, just while I think of it, does anybody have any contributions that I haven't already got? I know Mike, Andrada, and Michael have things. Katie,
And also my dad.
Katie and Katie's dad, and Bina. Right. One multiple or just some?
You went underwater robot there.
Everybody.
Oh, you're frozen.
Oh no.
You're still underwater.
Am I back?
Back in the room.
Okay. Hopefully this won't happen too much. Andrea! Hi, Andrea! Happy New Year!
Hi.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Oh my god, it's so nice to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm just here to listen and hang out. I'm very tired, but I wanted to see people and say hi.
Oh, I'm so glad you came along. I'm so glad you came along. Okay, so if I'm not underwater roboting anymore, so Katie and Peter and Bina, do you have do you have one that you would like to do? 5. Katie, you have 5.
Wow.
Holy shit sticks! Amazing. Okay.
Dad has 2.
Dad has...
Very short.
They're very short.
Okay.
Is anyone reading View of Scotland / Love Poem by Liz Lockhead? And if not, can I persuade someone else to read it?
I was considering that one.
I persuade Michael to read it.
I would second that, Michael, if you were interested in reading that at all.
Yeah, I'd be happy. Yeah. I decided to go for the Thomas Hardy one instead, but then now I can do both.
Oh, well,
You can definitely do more than one.
Michael,
Ah.
I in fact had a request also. We don't only love you for your Scots. That's definitely a part of it. Let's be real. And so, if you were at all interested in reading Old Farmer's New Year Morning by Rabbie Burns,
I don't know that one. What's that? Can you send a link?
I will send a link now. Hi, Em. Hi, Em. Okay.
Hi.
How you doing,
Hey.
Sweet Pea?
I'm okay. I have a handful of poems, so whenever you need / want filler, there's at least one that I quite like to read that's pretty short, and a haiku that I quite like that's short, but there's a bunch of New Year's poems that are lovely. So.
Fantastic. Oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great, folks. In fact, it's going to be so great that I think I'm going to start the ball rolling. It's time to bang the gavel. Bang, 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 bang. I hereby call the first meeting of Poetry Time of 2021 to order. Yay! Okay, so I think perhaps, Katie, how would you feel about starting us off?
I am going to start with I Stood on a Tower by Tennyson. I stood on a tower in the wet, and New Year and Old Year met, and winds were roaring and blowing, and I said, "Oh, years that meet in tears, have you all that is worth the knowing? Science enough and exploring, wanderers coming and going, matter enough for deploring, but aught that is worth the knowing? Seas at my feet were flowing, waves on the shingle pouring, Old Year roaring and blowing, and New Year blowing and roaring."
I like that a lot. Thank you, Katie. Now, Mike, how would you feel about doing one of yours, honey?
Yeah, any preference?
Dealer's choice.
All right, okay. We'll go for Marge Piercy, if that's okay. So, excited noises, yay. So, Birthday of the World by Marge Piercy. On the birthday of the world, I began to contemplate what I have done and left undone. But this year, not so much rebuilding of my perennially damaged psyche, shoring up eroding friendships, digging out stumps of old resentments that refuse to rot on their own. No, this year I want to call myself to task for what I have done and not done for peace. How much have I dared in opposition? How much have I put on the line for freedom? For mine and others. As these freedoms are paired, sliced and diced, where have I spoken out? Who have I tried to move? In this holy season, I stand self-convicted of sloth in a time when lies choke the mind of rhetoric bends reason to slithering, choking pythons. Here I stand before the gates opening, the fire dazzling my eyes, and as I approach what judges me, I judge myself. Give me weapons of minute destruction. Let my words turn into sparks. Well done, Marge Piercy.
Oh, Marge.
Well read, Michael.
Marge, yeah,
Thank
Mike, that was beautiful. Thank you, sweetie. I have a one that I think that I would potentially like to do after this. You will be astonished to hear that it is by Naomi Shihab Nye, because one day we'll get a room. So this is Burning the Old Year by Naomi Shihab Nye. Letters swallow themselves in seconds. Notes, friends tied to the doorknob, transparent scarlet paper, sizzle like moth wings, marry the air. So much of any year is flammable. Lists of vegetables, partial poems, orange swirling flame of days, so little is a stone. Where there was something and suddenly isn't, an absence shouts, celebrates, leaves a space. I begin again with the smallest numbers. Quick dance, shuffle of losses and leaves. Only the things I didn't do crackle after the blazing dies.
Yeah.
Why is she so great?
As I was flipping through Google, I saw that poem and thought, no, I'm not even going to bother. Frankie's going to do it.
Yeah, Frankie will take my hand off if I type it.
Don't you dare say that poem.
My baby. So, Peter, how would you feel about going next?
Yep. So I have two poems, but I'll do the New Year one first. The other one is more wintry, but weirder. So this is called The New Year. So it's kind of cool. And it's a poem by Edward Thomas, whom you might know died in the First World War. But he wasn't really a war poet. He mainly wrote about the countryside and very occasionally about the trenches, but really rarely. This is called The New Year. He was the one man I met up in the woods that stormy New Year's morning. At first sight, 50 yards off, I could not tell how much of the strange tripod was a man. His body, bowed horizontal, was supported equally by legs at one end and by a rake at the other. And thus he rested, far less like a man than his wheelbarrow in profile was like a pig. But when I saw it was a man, an old man, bent, at the same moment came into my mind the games which boys bend, thus high cockalorum, or fly the garter, and leapfrog. At the sound of footsteps he began to straighten himself. His head rolled under his cape like a tortoise. He took an unlit pipe out of his mouth. Politely, I wished him a happy new year, and with his head cast upward sideways muttered, as far as I could hear, through the trees' roar, "A happy new year, may it come fastish too." And I strode by, and he turned to raking leaves. He's a good poet.
That's absolutely
wonderful.
lovely. If you, Peter, if you said that the other one that you had was quite short, would you like to do that one as well?
Yes, this is really, enough said. This is John Betchman's poem called Chelsea, 1977. The street was bathed in winter sunset pink, and the air was redolent of kitchen sink. Between the dog mess heaps, I picked my way to watch the dying embers of the day glow over Chelsea. Crimson, load on load, all Brangwenesque across the King's Road. Deep in myself, I felt a sense of doom. Fearful of death, I trudged towards the tomb. The earth beneath my feet is hardly soil, but outstretched chicken netting, coil on coil, and covering cables, sewage pipes, wires, while underneath burn hell's eternal fires. Snap, crackle, pop. The kiddies know the sound, and Satan strokes his furnace underground.
Well, that's a
Walking
different
through,
vibe.
just walking through the park.
That was so good. Oh my god, you read them so amazingly as well. Thank you very much. Michael, how would you feel about doing a one next?
This Michael.
Yes, that Michael.
Which one would you like?
Maybe the Hardy? Also
The Hardy one. Okay,
Hi, Ainsley.
Welcome.
cool. I found this on a blog that said, no, it must be an American accent, so it said, no party for Hardy. And it's just about meeting God. I have finished another year, said God, in grey, green, white and brown. I have strewn the leaf upon the sod, sealed up the worm within the clod, and let the last sun down. And what's the good of it? I said. What reasons made you call from formless void this earth we tread? When 99 can be read, why not should be at all? Yea, sire, why you shaped us, who in this tabernacle groan, if ever a joy be found herein, such joy no man had wished to win, if he had ever known. Then he said, my labours logicless, you may explain, not I. Sense sealed I have wrought, without a guess, that I evolved a consciousness to ask for reasons why. Strange that ephemeral creatures who, by my own ordering are, should see the shortness of my view, use ethic tests I never knew, or made provisions for. He sank to raptness as of yore, an opening New Year's Day. He wrote as theretofore, and went on working evermore in his unwitting way. Yeah.
That was like that was one of those ones where it sounded so beautiful, like it's got such a kind of beautiful rolling rhythm, and you read it in such a hypnotizing fashion that I kept kind of like losing track, being like, oh no, pay attention to what the words are, don't just like sit there and listen to how nice it sounds.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's part of what poetry's about, just listening to them.
Yeah, exactly.
The feeling of the sounds,
Yeah.
the texture
Yes,
of the meter.
Texture, that is a good word, thank you.
No, I feel that too. Sometimes you need to like listen to a poem just for the noises it makes, not the meaning, and then
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we should at some point, maybe we could have a theme of like poems that just sound good for whatever reason that we like listening to or reading out.
Loch Ness Monster song comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always.
It feels so good to read too, even when you get just like fuck with the sounds. It's just fun. I think everyone should read it at some point.
You've got some
We
Scots
should just pass
coming
it around
later.
the room one night, the night when everyone does their rendition
Yeah.
of the Loch Ness Monster song. Look at Em's face.
Repeated
Nest
poem.
Fest! Nest Fest!
It can be the after chat for
Hold
the
on.
Burns night one.
Hold on. Bang, 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 bang. 1 minute, you rowdy lot.
My dad hasn't heard it. Could you do it in after chat, Em?
Anytime anyone asks me to read that, you know I will never say no.
Incredible. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. But for now, you, Bina, how would you feel about doing a one?
Yeah, what do you fancy?
Can we have the Kim Adenizio one?
Sure. Because poets big each other up, I found this on Liz Berry's Twitter. It's called New Year's Day. The rain this morning falls on the last of the snow, and will wash it away. I can smell the grass again and the torn leaves being eased down into the mud. The few loves I've been allowed to keep are still sleeping on the West Coast. Here in Virginia, I walk across the fields with only a few young cows for company. Big-boned and shy, they are like girls I remember from junior high who never spoke, who kept their heads lowered and their arms crossed against their new breasts. Those girls are nearly 40 now. Like me, they must sometimes stand at a window late at night, looking out on a silent backyard, at one rusting lawn chair and the sheer walls of other people's houses. They must lie down some afternoons and cry hard for whoever used to make them happiest, and wonder how their lives have carried them this far without ever once explaining anything. I don't know why I'm walking out here, with my coat darkening and my boots sinking in, coming up with a mild sucking sound I like to hear. I don't care where those girls are now. Whatever they've made of it, they can have. Today, I want to resolve nothing. I only want to walk a little longer in the cold blessing of the rain and lift my face to it.
Oh, God.
Oh, that was wonderful. Super sweet.
Sorry, Frankie.
Who was that again?
Kim Adenizio.
I think you broke Frankie.
Oh.
I broke Frankie last time we had poetry time. I'm really sorry.
It happens regularly, though.
Oh no.
It does.
Oh no.
Do you have a
Am I
link to
back?
it?
Yes,
Mm.
it is here.
Awesome.
I love Kim Adenizio. I love her. Thank you, Bina. That was absolutely flippin' beautiful. Now, Em, how would you feel about going next, sweetness?
Good. Okay. This one is Another New Year by Joanne Burns. The first week of the new year end, Indolence drops in as unusual, as usual, uninvited. Here's lassitude, like flat champagne, flatter than sorrow. Flat is the image of the year ahead. Schedule of trivial and significant. Failures making its presence felt. Any humor of self-parody is frizzled by the heat. An insect, voice rasps. Make it new. Make it new. Decision to give up writing for sandwich making seems quite positive. The first New Year's resolution approximating common sense in quite a while, yet. In a slow, thin panic, you begin picking out on poetry, surrounding yourself with texts, slim, thick volumes of verse, biographies, essays, articles, interviews, as if you're building a formidable sandcastle at low tide. American essays on poetic truth, honesty, sincerity make you want to puke. To burn the lot in pity about the fire bans. There's nothing more pesky than the pities of American poets doubling as lit critics up their crowns in their laurels and certainties and eloquence. Rhetoric that's never lost for words. And CVs as long as the Mississippi. Grow, illiterate, mute, not to be confused with vocally challenged, is what you crave. A big long sleep on a blank white page.
I love that. Who's that by?
Thank you. That one is by Joanna Burns.
Very
Sorry, Joanne Burns, not Joanna. I have a Joanna.
That's awesome. Thank you, Anne. Andrada, Andrada, if you are in a convenient place to read, would you like to read?
I am having a little bit of technical difficulty. Give me one more poem.
No problem. Well, Michael, how would you feel about doing another one of yours?
Which Michael?
You, Michael.
This is Michael, yeah.
You're Michael and Mike is Mike for the purposes of this differentiation in this particular session. I hope that is okay.
Fair enough, yes. Very rarely go by Mike. Yeah. So I thought maybe do the Scots one, seeing as we did like everyone be lulled to sleep by something. But it's weird, like I've been really going on a Scots kick recently as well. Getting like reading William Dunbar, like medieval Scottish poetry. So it's kind of
so cool. Yeah. Michael, you're so cool.
This isn't what I remember cool being from when I was in school.
It's a new year. Cool.
Different crowd now, though.
Cool's changed.
Yeah, cool's changed. Now it's medieval Scottish poets from 500 years ago insulting each other's bowels. Yeah, that's basically my project for the 23rd. Is I'm doing a kind of modernized translation of this old rap battle between two Scottish poets called The Flyting, the Dunbar and Kennedy. So hopefully if you guys make it to that, it'll be fun. But I'll get on with this one. This one's to an old farmer, his New Year's morning salutation to his old mare, Maggie. And it's basically, he starts talking about Maggie and all of her good times, and then gives her a New Year's present. Is this the right one, Frankie? Just check. Yeah. Okay, good. Right. A good new year I wish thee, Maggie. Hey, there's a rip to thy old baggie. Though thou's how back it now and naggy, I've seen the day. Thou could had gain like any staggy out o'er the lay. Though now thou's doughy, stiff and crazy, and thy old hide's as white's a daisy, I seen thee dappled, sleek and glazy, and bonny grey. He should been tight that daurt to raise thee, ance in a day. Thou ance was at the foremost rank of filly birdly, steve and swank, and set wheel down a shapely shank as the air tread yard, and could hae flown out o'er a stank like ony bird. It's now some 29 year since thou was my good father's mare. He gied me tochter clear and 50 mark. Though it was small, 'twas well won gear, and thou was stark. When I first gaed to woo my Jenny, ye then was trotting with your minnie. Though ye was tricksy, slee and funny, ye ne'er was dauncy, but hamely, toy, quiet and canny, and unca sonsy. That day ye pranced with muckle pride, when ye bore hame my bonny bride, and sweet and graceful she did ride with maiden hair. Kyle Stuart, I could brag wide for such a pair. Though now ye do but hoit and hobble, and wintle like a somant cobble, that day ye were a jinker noble for heels and win, and ran them till they all did wobble, far, far behind. When thou and I were young and skie, and at table mares and fairs were dree, how thou would prance and snore and scree to tak the road. Towns bodies ran and stood a bay and cut thee mad. When thou was cornt and I was mellow, we took the road, I like a swallow. At Bruce's thou had ne'er a fellow for pith and speed, but every tale thou paced them hollow, where'er thou gaed. The sma rumpled hunter cattle, my aiblins worked thee for a brattle, but 6 Scotch mile thou tried their mettle, and gart them wheezel. Nae whip nor spar, but just a wattle, o' soch or hazel. Thou was a noble fitty land, as e'er in tug or taw was drawn, af thee and I, in 8 hours gone, in good March weather, he turned Sax rood beside our hand, for days together. Thou never brenked and feshed and flisket, but thy old tail thou would ha whisket, and spread abread thy well-filled brisket with pith and power, till spritty nows wad reared and risk it, and slip it ower. When frosts lay lang and snaws were deep, and labour threatened back to keep, I gied thy cog a wee bit heap aboon the timmer. I ken my Maggie wadna sleep for that or simmer. In cart or cow thou never rested, thy stay at brow thou would have faced it, thou never lap and stent and braced it, then stood to blaw, but just thy step a wee thing hasted, thou snooved awa. My plough is now thy bairn time o', 4 gallant brutes this e'er did draw, for by Sax May I've selt awa that thou hast nursed. They drew me 13 pound and twa, the very worst. Mony a sore dunk we twa ha wrought, and with a weary world we fought, and mony an anxious day I thought we would be beat. But here to crazy age we're brought, with something yet. And think na my old trusty servant, that now perhaps thou's less deserving, and thy old days may end in starving. For my last foe, a heapet stimpet, I'll reserving, laid by for you. We've worn to crazy years together, we'll tote about with one another, with tenty care I'll flit thy tether to some hamed-rig, where you may nobly rax your leather with small fatigue.
Yay! Thank you, Michael.
Do it again, do it again.
Yeah.
I could listen to people reading Scots forever. That was lovely.
It's very sweet, but also kind of full of lots of like farming terminology from 1700 Scotland. So I can, yeah, thanks. It's very sweet at the end as well. It's like,
oh, it's so good.
I'll put the link for.
I think it's nice. I think it's like.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. Can people still hear me? Am I still live and kicking? This internet is terrible. Okay, Andrada, how are you doing technical difficulty wise?
Good to go.
Woo! Good to go.
This is New Every Morning by Susan Coolidge. Every morn is the world made new. You who are weary of sorrow and sinning, here's a beautiful hope for you, a hope for me, and a hope for you. All the past things are past and over. The tasks are done and the tears are shed. Yesterday's errors let yesterday cover. Yesterday's wounds which smarted and bled are healed with the healing which night has shed. Yesterday now is a part of forever, bound up in a sheaf which God holds tight, with glad days and sad days and bad days, which never shall visit us more with their bloom and their blight, their fullness of sunshine or sorrowful night. Let them go, since we cannot relive them, cannot undo and cannot atone. God in his mercy receive, forgive them. Only the new days are our own. Today is ours, and today alone. Here are the skies all burnished brightly. Here is the spent earth all reborn. Here are the tired limbs springing lightly to face the sun and to share with the morn in the chrism of dew and the cool of dawn. Every day is a fresh beginning. Listen, my soul, to the glad refrain. And spite of old sorrow and older sinning, all puzzles forecasted and possible pain, take heart with the day and begin again.
Oh my god, I love that.
Really lovely, that, Andrada.
Can you put a link to that in the chat if you have a link?
Yes, please.
Yes.
That was so gorgeous, and you read it so beautifully.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, so I have maybe another one that might be a good kind of counterpoint to that. And then after that, Katie, would you be up for doing another? Okay, so this is a one just called Happy New Year, and it's by Sierra de Mulder. If the entire existence of the Earth, all 4-point year, accordioned together like a head-on collision, humans would enter the party in the second half of the last minute of the last day, just in time to fall in love with a stranger and coax the ball to drop like a disco egg and spill out a fetal new year. By then, the dinosaurs would all be asleep, blackout drunk from their 30-minute binge. Imagine a world war that lasts a heartbeat, a century passed over like a page in a flipbook, a baby conceived and buried as an old man in the same moment. You and I are not dinosaurs, and we are not buried yet. So think of your heartache, the one festering inside you at this very moment, the poison dough nuzzling itself against your throat. Picture your anxiety, your midnight panic, your fear, your perennial doubt. Each of these becomes not even a word in the book, barely a grain of sugar in the bowl. This is not a devaluing of your pain, but a dethroning, an adjustment of the microscope's lens. Look up. The fireworks have started. Kiss me. They will be gone so soon. I think that is lovely.
So lovely, Frankie. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Oh. Who was that?
Sierra de Mulder. Hold on, I'll drop a link in the what's it.
I've not heard of them.
Hmm.
Are they well known? Should I have heard of them?
Oh no, this is I just came across them
Aha.
when trawling the internet for poetry.
Oh, okay.
You know, as you do.
Yes, you do.
As we all do sometime
as
in
we
the
all do.
later half of the week.
Relatable. So Katie, would you like to go next?
Oh, I'm going to read two, if that's okay, because they're both very short. And they're from this book, which everyone, especially probably Frankie and Bina, should go and buy, by Kathleen Jenkins. Jamie. A lot of them are in Scots, but the ones I'm reading today are not, because I'm reading them. This one's called Solstice 2. This is one for the summer solstice as well. Here comes the sun, summiting the headland. Pow! Straight through the windows of the 1019. And here's us passengers, splendid and blinking, like we're all reborn, remade exactly and just where we left off. The students, the toddler, the tattooed lass, the half-dozen roustabouts headed offshore, cracking more beers and more jokes. Angus at midwinter, or near as makes no odds. Faint shadows waxed over fields of dour earth. Every farmer's fence post splashed with gold.
Very pretty.
And this one's called Phineas, or something of that nature. How would you pronounce it?
I don't know, you'd have to ask Michael.
Well, friend, we're here again, sauntering the last half mile to the land's frayed end, to find what's laid on for us, strewn across the turf. Gull feathers, bleached shells, a whole bull seal bone dry, knackered from the rut. We knock on his leathern head, but no one's home. Change, change, that's what the terns scream, down at their seaward rocks. Fleet clouds and salt kiss. Everything else is provisional, us and all our works. I guess that's why we like it here. Listen, a brief lull, a rock pipit's seed small notes.
Oh my God, that's so lovely.
Good book.
What a beautiful book.
It's so beautiful. They're all about nature and they're great.
So I think it might be a Gaelic word, F, so F foxtrot, Ianuis, Phineas. But it'll be something else.
No idea, I'm afraid.
It's probably Gaelic.
Yeah.
Who knows? Interesting. Well, thank you very much. Ainsley, I believe you have one for us. Would you like to go next?
Yeah. I found another John Donahue that could come as a New Year thing as opposed to an Old Year thing as well. But this one is called At the End of the Year by John O'Donoghue. The particular mind of the ocean, filling the coastlines longing with such brief harvest of elegant vanishing waves, is like the mind of time, opening us shapes of days. As this year draws to its end, we give thanks for the gifts it brought and how they became inlaid within, where neither time nor tide can touch them. The days when the veil lifted and the soul could see delight, when a quiver caressed the heart in a sheer exuberance of being there, here. Surprises that came awake in forgotten corners of old fields where expectation seems to have quenched. The slow, brooding times when all was awkward and the wave in the mind pierced every sore with salt. The darkened days that stopped the confidence of the dawn. Days when beloved faces shone brighter with light from beyond themselves and from the granite of some secret sorrow, a stream of buried tears loosened. We blessed this year for all we learned, for all we loved and lost, and for the quiet way it brought us nearer to our invisible destination. I love him.
I really like that. I really like that. Oh, okay. Thank you for dropping that in the chat. I'm going to look at that immediately. Thanks, Ainsley.
You're welcome.
That was lovely, Ainsley.
Bina, how would you feel about doing another one?
Yeah, do you fancy a kind of more romantic Carol Ann Duffy one from the Rapture collection, which is like all sort of love poems, or like not really New Year's poems, but sort of reflective about how we deal with stuff from this very pretty one?
Could we do the Carol Ann Duffy one now? Because it may be that we have about an hour's worth of official New Year ones, and then we can move into a less specifically New Year-y way afterwards.
Sounds good. This one's called New Year, so it's definitely on theme. New Year. I dropped the dying year behind me like a shawl and let it fall. The urgent fireworks fling themselves against the night, flowers of desire, love's fervency. Out of the space around me, standing here, I shape your absent body against mine. You touch me as the giving air. Most far, most near, your arms are darkness, holding me. So I lean back, lip read the heavens talking on in light, syllabic stars. I see, at last, they pray at us. Your breath is midnight, living on my skin. Across the miles between us, fields and motorways and towns, the million lit up little homes. This love we have, grief in reverse. Full rhyme, wrong place, wrong time, sweet work for hands, the heart's vocation, flares to guide the new year in. The days and nights far out upon the sky's dark sea. Your mouth is snow now on my lips, cool, intimate, first kiss, a vow. Time falls and falls through endless space to when we are. Sorry, Frankie.
That was super beautiful, Bina.
Yeah.
Carol Ann Duffy's so good. She's also one of those poets who's written like a million collections and they're still all really good. Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah. Show off.
How rude.
I know, right? Oh God, that was lovely. Thank you, Gina. Mike Cox, how would you feel about going next?
Sounds good. This is from the lovely book that Katie got me. With a clever thing that lets you know what page you're on. They should be in all books. Anyway. It's called An Instinct of Hope by John Clare. Is there another world for this frail dust to warm with life and be itself again? Something about me daily speaks there must, and why should instinct nourish hopes in vain? 'Tis nature's prophecy that such will be, and everything seems struggling to explain the close sealed volume of its mystery. Time wandering onward keeps its usual pace, a seeming anxious of eternity, to meet that calm and find a resting place. Even the small violet feels a future power, and waits each year renewing blooms to bring. And surely man is no inferior flower, to die unworthy of a second spring.
That is so lovely. And also, I hope it's okay to say this, Mike. So, like, you've always read beautifully, but I've noticed you just, since you've like been coming to poetry time, since poetry time has been a thing, you're like, the way that you read just gets better and better and better. Does anyone else agree with this?
Thank you, Frankie.
Like you just you read so beautifully.
Oh, bless you. Oh, thank you so much.
Look at that little face. Okay.
Also, how surprising is it that by practicing something you get better at it?
What, you mute?
Shocking.
How dare you?
It was supportive and nice. So I can see how it looks like a shit-handed compliment.
Oh, bless you, Malcolm.
You sound like the guy who does the radio program Poetry Please.
Roger McGough.
Yeah, he does. He's got the same accent.
Okay, I'll have to listen.
You too. Oh my god.
You just sound like him. Honestly, close your eyes, you think it was him.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, thanks.
You could be a professional reading poetry on the radio, Mike.
Good.
Is what Dad's trying to say.
Or you could just do impersonations of McGough.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay. Michael, would you be interested in doing your third one now?
Yeah, sure. This is the one commissioned by Bina. It's Views of Scotland, or Love Poem by Liz Lochhead, the old Macker. And yeah, it's basically about her and her mother on Hogmanay combined with some memories of love. Down on her hands and knees at 10 at night on Hogmanay, my mother still giving it elbow grease, jiffy waxing the vinylay. This is too ordinary to be nostalgia. On the kitchen table, a newly opened tin of sockeye salmon, though we don't expect anyone, the slab of black bun, the petticoat tails fanned out on bone china. Last year it was very quiet. Mum's got her rollers in with waves set and her well-pressed good dress slack across the candlewick upstairs. Nearly 10:30 already and her not shifted. If we're to even hope to prosper, this midnight must find us how we would like to be. A new view of Scotland with a dangling calendar is propped up under last year's, ready to take its place. Darling, it's 30 years since anybody was able to trick me December 31st into looking into a mirror to see a lassie with as many heeds as days in the year. And 2 already since, familiar strangers at a party. We did not know that we were the happiness we wished each other when the bells went, did we? All over the city, off licenses pull down their shutters. People make for where they want to be to bring the new year in high rises and tenements. Sunburst clocks tick on dusted mantel shelves. Everyone puts on their best spread of plenty, for to even hope to prosper this midnight must find us how we would like to be. So there's a bottle of sickly liqueur among the booze in the alcove, golden crusts on steak pies like quilts on a double bed. And this is where we live. There's no time like the present for a kiss.
Swoon.
I love that one.
It's really nice.
That's beautiful. Beautiful poem, beautifully read. Thank you both. Em, would you like to do another one?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. This one is On the Eve of a New Year by Philip Ellis. After all, this year was closing towards another. and the passage of time towards another set of numbers. But in thinking this to myself, and the thought of time, and the thought that is another year coming towards me, I find myself looking at time as a wind. Once, when I was a child and walking to school, the wind was strongly perpendicular to the road and called me towards where the cars wavered as they passed. I was almost crying as I struggled against the wind, once clinging to a lamppost, frightened and fearful of the waiting road. My heart was beating then. I felt it, striking deeply within the hammering pulses. But not now, caught as I am in the winds of time that stretch me forwards into a rapidly approaching year. I cannot hear the pulse that I know is dreaming under me, under the ribs and flesh and my skin. And I know that the road waits for me. And I know that at last I shall step upon it. But I am not so afraid as resigned, seeking to enjoy my time in the wind a little more each day, even though I mourn each day passing me into oblivion. I am prepared, though, to let go of this lamppost, life, hope, will, even though I remember walking to school in the perpendicular wind that was summoning me onto the road. I may well never forget that image and may well keep remembering it from time to time. Funny how life is like that, really. Sometimes we remember, and sometimes it's lost to the wind.
That was gorgeous. Thank you, Em. I wonder if Ainsley, do you think your other one would go nicely after that?
Yeah. So this was actually one of the readings from Gustav's and My Wedding, but I think it's also good for other new starting beginnings or the new year. So it's For Longing by John O'Donohue again. Blessed be the longing that brought you here and quickens your soul with wonder. May you have the courage to listen to the voice of desire that disturbs you when you've settled for something safe. May you have the wisdom to enter generously into your own unease, to discover the new direction for your longing wants to take. May the forms of your belonging in love, creativity, and friendship be equal to the grandeur and the call of your soul. May the one you long for you. May your dreams gradually reveal the destination of your desire. May a secret providence guide your thought and nurture your feeling. May your mind inhabit your life with the sureness with which your body inhabits the world. May your heart never be haunted by the ghost structures of old damage. May you come to accept your longing as divine urgency. May you know the urgency with which God longs for you. He's got a collection called, oh no, I started that sentence and I forgot the rest of it.
That's a strange name for a collection.
I know, right? To bless the space between us. And it's a series of blessings for different points in your life. And I will find a link to it and post it.
What was that one called again, Ainsley? That was gorgeous.
For Longing.
Oh.
I will post in a link. I'll link it.
Ainsley, will you marry me?
Oh.
You know, Sure.
We'll talk.
Allowed to marry more than one person.
I thought we were all getting married.
The food's going to be great, though.
Okay. Let's have a look at the list. Bina, would you like to do another one?
Yeah, I think the Liz Berry one would go nicely after that because it's kind of a prayer poem, except, you know, just about nature and nice things. It's called. Oh. Did you just mute me, Frankie?
No.
Okay. Blue Heaven. Our poem, which art in blue heaven, give us this morning daffodils spilling spring's song like yolk, moss sporing on the guttering, snug for wet the beds, Jenny Wren and weeping birch, watching over us, our unanswered emails and half-built Lego palaces, milk cups and toast crumbs, photographs of us in the 90s, drunk and so in love we look like children. Give us griefs and small kindnesses. Once upon a time, in clumsy boy's hand on the back of a phone bill. Library books and germaline, sanitary towels soaked with clotted rubies, pyjamas shed beneath the bunk beds like adder skins, money spiders, stories, the nights we touch in darkness with that wild honey milk of recognition. Tenderize our hearts to all that is holy, the dog and her blanket, the playgroup collage, and forgive us our trespasses, pulling tight the shutters on our hearts when others are knocking, cussing in the night when we stumble to the cot. Teach us to love each other as the tree loves the rain, never wasting a drop.
Oh, God.
The tree loves the rain. I love that line. It's like another line from Pablo Neruda. Let us, may we be to each other what. Oh, sorry. I want to do to you what the spring does to cherry trees.
Yes. Yes. God.
Like that.
Also, because it doesn't translate, once upon a time is spelled like this. It's very lovely.
Aww.
Oh, God, Liz. Thank you, Bina. Katie, do you have another one that you'd like to do?
This one's called New Year Snow, and it's by Francis Horowitz. For 3 days we waited, a bowl of dull quartz for sky. At night, the valley dreamed of snow, lost Christmas angels with dark white wings flailing the hills. I dreamed a poem, perfect as that first 5-pointed flake that melted at dawn. A Janus time to peer back at guttering dark days, trajectories of the spent year. And then snow fell. Within an hour, a world immaculate as January's new hung page. We breathe the radiant air like men newborn. The children rush before us. As in a dream of snow, we track through crystal fields to the green horizon and the sun's reflected rose.
That was so beautiful.
Nice.
That was so lovely, Katie. Thank you.
I have one more that I think I would quite like to do. So this is quite a sort of famous one by W.S. Merwin, and it's called To the New Year. With what stillness at last you appear in the valley, your first sunlight reaching down to touch the tips of a few high leaves that do not stir, as though they had not noticed and did not know you at all. Then the voice of a dove calls from far away in itself to the hush of the morning. So this is the sound of you, here and now. Whether or not anyone hears it, this is where we have come with our age, our knowledge such as it is, our hopes such as they are, invisible before us, untouched and still possible. It's time is a ticking on. So obviously after chat is certainly a thing, but does anybody have any more kind of specifically and definitely New Year poems that they would like to include in this in the official bit before I bang the gavel and we enter Storytime After Dark?
Dun, dun, dun.
I think we all good? Okay, well, in that case, I will end the recording here. And we, people can, carry on poeting late into the night, you poetical lot. So thank you very much, everybody, for coming and for reading and listening and sharing the first Poetry Saturday of 2021. Happy New Year!
Yay!
Everybody, and Happy New Year, catch-up crew! If you are,
Bye, catch-up crew.
bye, catch-up.
Happy New Year, catch-up crew.
We love you.